Musical education is critical to successful development for youth in urban settings. Here to talk to me today about ROCMusic Collaborative is its director, Armand Hall. Thank you so much for coming in, Armand. It's great to see you today.
Thank you. Great to see you as well, Eric.
It's
Appreciate you being here.
such a formative time for youth to study music while they're acquiring all their skills and learning about life so much.
Yes. Yeah, we know as music educators that the earlier a student can become involved with music education, the better off chance they have of actually being successful in a career of music or using those skills to enhance the rest of their life.
So ROCMusic Collaborative provides music education and performance to urban youth. Do I have that right?
Yes, and specifically in our case, it's the youth of Rochester. And the great thing about our city is it is diverse in its people as it is in its socioeconomic statuses and cultures. And everyone is welcome at the ROCMusic Collaborative, but we make sure that it is getting into areas where arts education is not necessarily a priority, so that we make that access to it as easy as possible.
Well, now, tell me about the collaborative part of your name. What does that represent?
Well, ROCMusic was the brainchild of who is now the dean at the Eastman School of Music, Dr. Jamal Rossi, and he was impressed with the fact that Eastman wasn't necessarily doing as much as they could to impact the lives of youth and people in the city of Rochester. So Dean Rossi got together with the Eastman Community Music School, obviously the Hochstein Community Music School, the RPO, the the RCSD Arts Education Program, and the City of Rochester to form the ROCMusic Collaborative. It's these institutions and organizations that generally work in their own silos to come together to say that we need to do more. Several years after the creation, they actually even added on the Gateways Music Festival. So we have 7 members of this collaborative that are committed to making rock music happen, and by providing a myriad of things, and most of them are support, not necessarily funds to keep it going, but support and access to their individual offerings for the members of the rock music, for students and families in rock music.
So you mentioned the RPO, that's the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes,
and
sir.
then the RCSD is Rochester City School District?
Yes, sir.
I see. And so is this a city function, or how does it, organizationally, how does it work?
It is ROCMusic is an MOU operated organization that lives because these organizations, including the City of Rochester, say that it is important. The City of Rochester in recent years has taken a lot more ownership of the program, and now it is one of the official programs offered within the Bureau of Youth Services inside of the Department of Recreation and Human Services.
Well, it's just phenomenal that you have a first-class musical education organization like Eastman School of Music and the Philharmonic and the city and the school district. That must be unique.
It is. There are not many organizations across the country that are set up in this way. Usually there's one organization that takes the lead and the ownership of this happening. And what I love most about this and attracted me to come to the position was the fact that there were so many entities inside of the city that were committed to the same cause of getting access and equity in arts education for every youth in Rochester.
So you can really leverage a lot of resources toward one goal there.
Yes, sir.
And where does the instruction happen?
So the design of ROCMusic is that all the instruction happens inside of the local R centers, which are community centers, and inside of some schools that are attached to R centers. This way, this is neighborhood-based instruction. So instead of the families having to come and seek out the instruction someplace else in the city, they can find something more locally sourced to reach that.
And do the residents have say in how the programs develop and what instructions are offered, et cetera?
We are certainly always making sure that that is a fundamental point of our planning. And so we have parent groups and we run surveys and we just get out there and try to figure out what the people want from this instruction. And I think that's part of our maturation as a program. We started off as a program that was at one R center and we offered string education. But through talking to the community, while they valued that opportunity, the access to different instruments and other types of music and in more centers across the city has become a priority. So we are trying our best to deepen what we're doing with the students, but also expanding access by creating spots for instruction across the city.
I see. So it's resident informed in a way.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's phenomenal. So if you're a young student, is there a course of study that you follow, or do you start with one instrument and progress to others? How does it work for a youngster?
Well, right now we have our instruction is for ages 6 through 18 inside of the city. So you can start an instrument at any age, and we're offering the full complement of string programs. Now, we do break it up so that if you're coming in as a 6-year-old through a 9-year-old, we have a certain site that's for you so that it's developmentally appropriate, so that we have kids around the same age with the same ability to process learning those instruments together. But we also have other programs that are taking students across a wide range to develop that more community feel, such as our partnership with Herb Smith and the Herb City Trumpets program, where we're taking a program directed at young Black males to learn how to play the trumpet. And we're talking middle school through high school and at any age, and they'll get lessons and mentorship time with Herb Smith himself through ROCMusic.
Herb Smith being third trumpet in the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra, a great chance to leverage an astounding talent, really creative individual.
And wonderful community person. He wants to see Rochester become the best of itself, and he's very committed to doing this community work as well as his professional work around town. And everybody seems to know and love Herb Smith, so that sort of respect and notoriety lets people know that this is a Rochester-focused program.
That's fantastic. And so do they start on recorder, for instance, or learn,
No, we go right at learning the instrument.
Okay.
Right away. So in 6th grade, very much like a Suzuki program, we don't have a full-fledged box orchestra as you might in a really young Suzuki program, but we put an instrument in front of you and we make sure that your technique is matching your age level and your ability to skill so that we can provide success there. But it's trying to possibly catch students up to where some of their peers are. Rochester and the greater area has great music education opportunities afforded to those who can either afford it or have the means to get to it. And so we're trying to offer folks a chance to catch up and possibly then get into the pipeline to go someplace like the Eastman Community Music School and continue lessons, or the Hochstein School of Music to continue lessons. The School of the Arts is we partner with them as a part of our RCSD course, so that we're putting the students in the already existing pipelines and providing them a chance to just make music in their community if that's what they choose.
Well, now, are these communities of below average median income for the household, for instance, where your instruction happens, or how would you describe it?
I would say that we have a very diverse in terms of culturally, racially, but also socioeconomic statuses within our program. The locations are right in the center of some of the most impoverished portions of our Rochester community. And that's important that we create these safe spaces for learning to happen, but the students involved come from all over. Some parents and families are able to get their students across the city to make it to music lessons. And so we welcome them so that we're creating a community of people who know each other from across Rochester. And then the students who live right down the street from the center are just as welcome and treated just as fairly inside of our program.
So if a student were interested in drumming, he's just got a drum, can he do that at ROCMusic?
Yes, we actually started in partnership with the city a rhythm section program. So we have one of our divisions that's dedicated to keyboards, bass guitar, drum set, and even DJ skills, so that students can learn how to drum set. Now, those students need to be a little older because those drum set skills are a little motor heavy for them. So we're looking for kids in middle school to start that program, but it is available.
And, so if Uncle George has an instrument in the attic that is not being used anymore, can he donate it?
Yes, we're always taking instruments because that's one of the needs to get students. And because of our MOU and partnership, we can take instruments on donation through the Hochstein School. So it would be as if you were donating the instrument to ROCMusic. You just took it to Hochstein. The letter would come from Hochstein thanking you for that. We can even set that up as a tax deduction. But Hochstein is great about making sure that we receive those instruments so that we can use them in our program.
And do students learn to read music as well as play it?
Yes. So in music education, there's the track of learning the technique of the instrument, but then there's also learning musical skills, which we lump in as music literacy. And so our program endeavors to do both at the same time. A lot of times we are engaging kids with oral training, but Suzuki does exactly the same thing, this sound before sight. So our youngest program, for example, our beginning strings, the students learn technique and they learn to see music from a distance, but then they also have a choral program and where they're working on rhythms and how to audiate pitches and produce good sounds. And they have a motor function class, which is doing hand drumming, where they're starting to see rhythms and duplicating that at the same time, so that all those things are working in tandem for a holistic music education.
I see. Now, the approach in general for rock music, is it derived from anything that people might recognize in other countries, for instance?
Well, yes, we are, excuse me, I'm sorry. We are part of the El Sistema USA, which is a movement and organization inspired by the El Sistema program started in the 70s in Venezuela. And essentially it is a community-focused music program that in Venezuela is supported by the government, and here in the United States, these programs are supported by community and local funders. To do this, to set up a system where students can learn music outside of the schools and it become important in their community. And what we endeavor to do is to make that connection, that wraparound connection with our school partners, so that the students can do music in school and out of school, all with the idea of them progressing together. So you might recognize El Sistema with its connection to the LA Phil and Maestro Gustavo Dudamel conducting there, coming from the Simon Bolivar Orchestra in Caracas, Venezuela. And it has inspired a worldwide phenomena, and rock music is a part of that, inspired by that community aspect of music making.
I see. And are there resources available to you from that program that help in what rock music tries to do here?
Yes, so El Sistema USA provides for rock music a connection to other programs. So for example, in Western and Upstate New York, there are 4 programs that also are a part of El Sistema USA. Most closely, our sister program in Buffalo called the Buffalo Strings Works. So we try to several times a year make connections with them and trade teachers and have the students go to other spaces, because this idea that the music making community is larger than who's just, in your local area is really important. So we want them to meet each other and we share resources. El Sistema USA also has a great resource program for our teachers so that they can continue to be professionally developed in that area, and a great national symposium that we're able to go to so that we can discuss specifically how to teach inside of these non-traditional urban settings.
And is this now individual instruction or ensembles or both, or what's the experience like for a typical student?
Both. The most cost-effective community building way for instruction is through large ensemble. So we have in our string program a string orchestra. Inside of the rhythm section program, we have a band, a jam band that all the students play with. The trumpet has a trumpet ensemble. But what we're trying to do is also offer both. And our partners in the collaborative allow us to get some extra teaching hours so that we can pull students out and be more responsible for their individual growth while having us all grow together in this large ensemble. So we endeavor to do both, but it is specifically built around the social aspects inside of a large ensemble.
I see. And now, as a young student, what skills come first? Do they get this first, or do they get this first, or what's the development course like for a youngster?
What we hope is that we are influencing this first, because this is what they have with them all the time, the ability to hear and then thusly repeat, audiate. So good vocal projection, to be able to sing songs. Everyone sings songs, and they may not be singing the classical piece that is in a method book, but we could teach them to play music that they like by transcribing and audiating onto their instruments so that it becomes a personal connection for them. So we really do a lot with our students in singing and listening and learning what we call by rote on their instruments, so that personal connection is developed.
They internalize it from their own internal picture of the sound, right?
Correct.
Oh, that's fascinating. And so now, do you work with other groups yourself? Do you go around to other El Sistema programs and work with them as well?
I try to. I'm very fortunate in that way. I am actually the board chair for El Sistema USA. So I remain connected across the country and do what I can personally in my own experience to help out other programs, providing professional developments or conducting ensembles. I am a conductor, so having those what we call seminarios, which would be akin to someone else going to an honor band or an honor choir orchestra situation, where we get together programs within inside of El Sistema USA to commune together, make music together on a larger regional basis.
Oh, that's so exciting. And now, what impediments are there that prevent a student from succeeding? If they find you, what's in their way, and how maybe we can improve the situation?
There are lots of impediments in life
Yeah.
for everyone. And I would say that as much as we have tried to branch out across the city, transportation is a huge issue in our regional area. So that if the site isn't close to next door, walking is not always an option. And some of our students are too young to necessarily want to be putting on a bus. So it is incumbent for us to be looking for more ways to get students to travel to the sites that we do have, because we can only open up so many, because every one we open costs more money for us to be able to do that with. I would say that's the number one impediment. I would say the second impediment that we have right now is people knowing that our program exists. We are getting ready to next fall enter our 10th year, and there's still many people that don't know about our program. I think our work recently has been so insular to make sure that we're doing the best job that we can do for the students in the program, that we have to do a better job of letting folks know that we are here and that there are other avenues of music making aside from what's at school, or maybe something that somebody might say is classical only, that learning an instrument is about you learning to express yourself ultimately. And we hope that by the time students leave our program, they feel competent enough to do that. And that doesn't specify a genre of music. And hopefully we go across enough genres of music that everyone feels comfortable for all musics.
Now, what time of day does the instruction happen? Is it essentially after school or weekends, or?
Yes, right now we're a completely after school program. And so that is us fitting into the center schedule, which allows us to connect our families to other resources. So the bulk of our instruction happens in a 4 to 6 time block. And that was originally created because from 3 to 4, a lot of the centers offer snacks that are provided by fantastic organizations like FoodLink. And there's also homework help. So we're getting students in so that they can get their homework done. Then they have this intensive music instruction. And then the centers offer free dinners, hot meals to all youth who are in the centers, open to everyone. And so we're trying to make sure that we situate our instruction between other resources that would be useful to families.
Now, speaking of resources, it's been a challenging time. I mean, can they look to rock music for guidance on other issues that might challenge them, just in everyday life?
Right. We do our best. That is not our expertise, but I think what is positive about the collaborative is that inside of the Department of Recreation, inside of the Bureau of Youth Services, there's a lot of other offerings for families, whether it be food assistance. We've done a lot with getting information out about COVID, young entrepreneurs, so business training for students, actually job training for youth so that they can get jobs through the city. The city offers so many programs, and sometimes it's so hard to catch and know where everything is, that we do our best to make sure that our families know about these offerings as well as the music that we're offering there, so that they see that rock music is a resource. On our website we have those things, but we also send that information out to parents, through our regular contacts, to say this is also going on, should you or someone else in your family benefit from it.
Yeah, you mentioned your website. Maybe it's a good time to tell us what that is in case people would like to see it.
Okay, well, it's www.ROCMusic.org. So it's rock music, not with a K, rock for Rochester, obviously music.org. And that is the central location to find, additional resources about all of our programs, to see videos and pictures of the students doing fantastic work. And that will also lead you to our Facebook and other social media presentations, because that's important to our community, to make sure that people are being seen, that our students are being seen, being positive and successful. So we do as many performances as we possibly can from as early as we can so that they get that aspect of music making as well.
I see performances, and so do you do those in a certain location, or are they at the art centers? Where do those happen?
A lot of our larger performances will happen at the art centers because that's where the bulk of our training is going, but we endeavor in our program to have once a month some of our students perform somewhere in the city. And a lot of times it's in partnership with fantastic organizations through the city, like the Rochester Philharmonic will allow us to play, before a concert. We've shared concerts with the Rochester Oratorio Society. We've done side-by-sides with the RPO Orchestra. We've played with some of our RCSD orchestra programs inside of the schools. We're just looking to perform. We've actually performed in coffee shops with some of our students. So we're looking for any place to show our students and talent and allow them to feel the success of performing and learn how to perform, because that's just another skill.
And where do your instructors come from? Are these students or professionals, or?
We are looking to always hire the best professional that we can, but the issue is we have a transient population here in Rochester, so we get a lot of fantastic students from the Eastman School of Music, and we've worked out a training program for them. Dr. Lisa Caravan inside of the Eastman School of Music has several classes that the students would take, and she works with them on how to teach inside of a program like rock music and urban programs, and then we're able to hire them later, because teaching in an after-school, non-traditional program has its challenges that are different than everyday public school education. We're also endeavoring to hire local musicians. So we have people like Paul Boutte and Carlton Wilcox, who are very well-known, respected musicians in Rochester who come from the community and who want our youth to have access to music making. And so they're here with us as well teaching. So our teachers come from a lot of sources, and we're looking for people who are really concerned about reaching out to our youth population in town and giving them the best.
Right, Carlton Wilcox, now, he's not in a classical genre.
No, he's not. But he is a fantastic musician. And he is a professional. And what we want is for our students to be able to look up to their instructors and see them doing this work. And Carlton Wilcox performs all over the city and has a great following, but he has a great care for the youth. And that's the most important thing that he brings to the table.
And I think he has a focus also on some electronic media and everything that upcoming musicians are going to need to know.
Yes. And we're very lucky that we have a studio at our Gant Art Center where Paul Boutte teaches some production classes, and we're working on getting some recording classes done so that the students can learn how to, whether it be mic live performances or how to work online to make music in that way. We spent the entire year last year still having online training and offered 6 virtual recitals. So our students had to learn how to record themselves and how to make the recordings great and put them together for these recitals.
And are they available for people to see in any place?
Oh yes. So on our Facebook page, which if you're big into Facebook, our Facebook name is Rock Music Kids, and you can find out or just search the Rock Music Collaborative. All of our recitals are there. We also have a YouTube account where you can see those recitals, and they're on our website as well.
So as you look back and see musicians who've come through Rock Music program, are there any alums who've gone on to wonderful things that you're especially proud to report?
Yes, we've had students who have taken this so seriously, and that's the great thing about it with our partners in the collaborative who've been able to go to the Eastman School of Music. We've had students go to study music at Nazareth College. We've had students audition and join the orchestras at Hochstein, and we've also had students who have nationally joined like the LA Phil's Take a Stand Orchestra during the summer. They auditioned and received admittance into that. So we're really happy with that, but we're not necessarily interested in training professional musicians. We want to set the student up so that at the point in where they're making that choice, they are prepared, whether it is to become a professional musician or just a lifelong maker of music in their community.
And it helps them make more successful choices, better choices. So many competing interests happen for teenage students in particular. Maybe they can choose some safer and better informed life paths if they study music. Do you agree?
Right. And putting them around people who are experiencing the same thing that they are, so that they have a set of peers that come from rock music that are maybe different than their ones in their school or in their their livable neighborhood, and so that we know more people and we have more options. We also have started a program in conjunction with the City of Rochester so that our students 14 and older can get hired to be teaching assistants inside of our program, not necessarily trying to make them into future music educators, which would be very nice. We want them to feel like the skills that they've learned in our program over that time is our money-making opportunities for them, employable skills by assisting the teacher, by playing and leading young groups of students younger than they are. They can help out and we can provide them money for that.
Certainly a growth avenue to mentor others younger than you, even if your own skills are still developing.
Yes.
And do activities happen during the summertime as well?
Yes, we break from our intense 6 hours of 5 to 6 hours a week for each student during the summertime, and it usually happens right before the official school calendar ends. But we focus on private lessons through the ECMS and Hochstein, and we have beginning classes running at the R centers as a prep for what will happen in the fall. And then we offer for sure a 2-week music camp that's a 9 to 4 that right now is called the Rock Music Summer Academy. It's not very exciting name, but the idea is that the students can be there and eat breakfast and lunch at the center and get an immersive music opportunity right before school starts back. So it's usually the last 2 weeks of August, and we've started partnering with a program called Art ID International. So it's not just music during the day. The students are doing large visual arts programs, and we'll have an actual art show coming up in May of this 2022 to display some of that art for the students. And that is open to any student in Rochester, not just students who are pre-registered for rock music.
Yeah, students have to pre-register for classes. It's like school. They register for classes with you. And
Yes.
What's that process like, Armand?
It is they fill out an application with their parents to make sure that happens, and then they come to an orientation so that they understand that while all of this instruction and the use of the instrument is free to the students, the cost is the agreement to the time-intensive training that happens, the 6 hours a week. Or if you're going to come to the camp, that's more than 40 hours over the 2 weeks that we have the students. So it's the commitment to doing this time that is what we ask of parents and students.
And if people out there would like to support this activity, how do they donate to rock music?
So on our page, we have a support button, and then you can just go to rockmusic.org /support, and they'll find out ways to either donate through the Eastman Community Music School, or the Eastman School of Music, or the Hochstein School of Music. They both act as donors, fiduciary funds for the Rock Music Collaborative. So you donate to them and they make sure that we get the funds.
I see. And do students learn to write music as well? I mean, that's a specific skill in itself.
Not specifically. We have, and in addition to that, the summer academy, we have a winter, what we call our MLK residency, because it happens during that week, where the students are encouraged to create music. So the idea of both of those experiences is that it is not just typical rock music offerings, which is traditional music education, but the students are learning to create music and then thusly hopefully write it.
Oh, and that's just phenomenal. Well, it's just been very exciting to watch the whole program grow and develop so much, and so many great plans on the horizons. Is there anything else you'd like to add in just about 10 seconds before we have to say goodbye?
10 seconds. I would just like everyone to know there's many things that we don't have to worry about as a traditional organization, like paying for space and those sorts of things, because we're a city program. But if you choose to donate, what you are exactly donating to is instructional time for our students. We like to pay our instructors what they're worth, and that's why we seek out the best people. And so we're trying to give them a livable wage so that we're creating employment there. So all of your funds that you would donate, if you choose to support us, would go to teacher instruction payments and then the purchase and repair of instruments.
The director is Armand Hall. It's been a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you so much, Armand. Great to talk.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it.
In the Spotlight is a production of Penfield Television with sponsorship from Nokan & Associates, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Advisors. If you enjoy this program, please find us on Facebook, like and share the program. and find our full playlist on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching.